contrary.
I'm going to use a podium. Should I move it over? Or...
Yeah, why don't we put it in the middle or in front?
No call here, so okay, we're good. Yeah.
Oh my. Yeah. Always do. Beautiful. I'm ready.
Part one is grammar by throwing line reality. Reality is premise that includes some combination of equal rights. And ethical legal discourses like seem clever. They are the anti-systemic philosophy play part not substituted. Morality is sort of norms from which we want to live and how practical consequences and moral question must be from the participants. If the norm assessment provided for moral point of view requires some maximum generalized and the opposite perspective of all effective. Thus, A. Ethics is the sort of type of conduct or lives. We some conduct of the agents and willing to construct any obligation that find for self-determination thus intrinsically good. It's the only thing that allows us to fully express the given type of duties. And B. The question why the moral that those characteristics and self-determination are included in philosophical practices. As with any moral uncertainty, each defects and include there's not a chance to be mind to any moral theory. Thus, the standard is reflecting inclusive self-determination and the choices first. All strict equal abilities engage in moral discussion must be consensus and majority just by the need for self-determination markets, right? What we have here is not that is just not for no explanation why we have why some of the motivations are the wrong one, it doesn't feel what kind of justify. We issue the academic part, some people say not because they why the right external to tell some are better reasons and others without right reasons. It means that you're becoming more reliably motivated. Thus, A, within our arbitrary limit identities, must include others which outweigh some of the models if we never know that one view is right. If there are other entities that would be under reasoning, and B, other creatures tell us we do not think it's weird. As external, we can never explain one, why those are capable of reasoning because you have something wrong with motivated. What about you live in an argument between the world here's constructive if the various kinds of any arguments each pain is bad, because one people some people say pain is bad, thus opinion for rigorous like the initial times thus this includes all arguments because they also run initial times which are response to. Second, we understand ourselves to experience of others, therefore we have to allow self-determination to come to like ontological conclusions. After the exclusion of other beings starts at end, the harmful cultural violence and respect for those so being everything there is not will see nothing close to the origin from it can feel multiple people cited. Sports and parents of own experience, what other Sean might have engaged in factor of discussion, we have been having shareable with others. Thus, A, broader less segregation reality starting factor because of all which is only into my parent B, broader less many obligation prohibition and regression mechanism enough is relational to the capital of net and the self creation. C, there's nothing no way to is the goodness of that for that to grab seeing of nice people. Part two is inherency. Currently, are significant barriers to transgender adolescent hormones, Carol 98. Hormones now be often inhibited by prescription medical professionals, not recognizing the and just judicial transgender people, medical services have prescribed hormones only according to their own narrow conception of what appropriate use, what's appropriate expression in transgender identity for transgender youth. Active hormones most often denied through blanket prohibition on providing hormones to anyone under 18. Such policies preclude individuals' assets. Part 3 is marked. First, transgender adolescents are banned from the degree of hormones shield rights. Many transgender people will be eligible to obtain hormones to transgender people if they face barriers to transition facility their own transition that the medical organization 29% of eligible responses use the same hormones. In creating 6 months, there's non-medical sources reject hormones carry risks to find agents converting yield or rejecting and prostitution in dosage leading to side effects including death. Second, denied hormone access access to hormones inhibits expression in that Carol 2. Denied transgender adolescents express hormones to diminish the control of those girls on them for their environment. Their own body diminish control makes transgender youth more vulnerable to psychological cracks, such as sexual pressures, including fear rejection, harassment, and violence. Third, denied access to hormones is regarded in Carol 3. Depression, anxiety, and suicide among transgender people are common signs of unmet needs. Denying access to hormones are reduced to recognize transgender benefit ability to consider an active and effects on discrimination of their friend. Fourth, making transgender adolescents wait for access to interrupt the imaging. Shield 2. Puberty brings a series of progressive changes in an adolescent's body. This discipline is not easily reversed later, making transition more difficult than the secondary sensitive choices to be different from masculine freedom from the primary cause of post-poverty mental elevations as early treatment produces a more effective final outcome. Part 3 is the plan. Resolve the United States option grant transgender mature minors on this right to obtain hormones. Barrel 4. It is a and option such in favor of alignment with treatment health. The Commission provides security services with comment by inappropriately documented judgment mature mind concerning the receptive such in favor of allowing transgender youth to obtain hormones to mature minor doctor health, reducing system barriers to access mitigating the world doctor experiencing transgender youth. Part 4 is solvency. Hormone access is key. Barrel 5. Hormone treatments and alleviate depression, reduce risk of suicide. Hormones can facilitate gender self-determination, validate gender identity, to provide transgender adolescents with sense of agency to reduce feelings of helplessness and despair. The plan solves increasing transphobia, impact health, provide hormones to general sin. The clinical takes hormones to admit into well pressure treatment against transgender youth. Therefore, we're not going to use access to hormones now because that is view black and maturity making less likely to access denied based on prejudices. Without the limiting need for chiropractic consulting one of your person's permission to require and expression translated in equal denies and value max performance. For 5% of you, if the natural sex can be made theory to your argument for the absence of A, the because in North West North A, B theory says you need to help out for arguments about that. The theory is expected to be found in which argument can reason about the one air shot down the argument before looking at the popular data or something around. We need to only other power to change but not to language again or 2008. They have a society involved in advantage of the data policies publishing had not forced into revenue justice and the state of manipulating distracting and pushes out with head off the industry the revenue for species cultivating odds and adversarial possible use of language to common ground matching to non-matching negative agency not legitimacy. The state is medical and indispensable part of acceptable solutions factor 304. Drawing attention to multiple cases which they claim below the rest of the fair in the states here statement of economic agent getting off the fair rejected things to remove all documents and inquiries and answers to the state of the solution of those things. Those systems and manufactured powerfully future that any transformation will necessarily be state dependent. The odds of the consider the state on the reason and state the impact of other institutions political power confidence in the state that is pervasive together. It causes the independent media for results in shaping large social realities systems will advance to all media in the state. And advancing quality discussion for apological questions parallels to actually cause violence regardless of Axiological conflict based concept in the intellectual in space for the search regarding the constructive international politics kind of copy for these places are using cost category reward and that's why you weapons of the units are qualified destabilize it under critical and little modern Russians for to the same guy yes any product make and never in executing condition. That's next that makes sense for arguments. Resolution of arguments actually to be discussed possible connect the movements link to your and always out and the also part to a perspective sacrifice also be one air time to basic forms of there's some using something always air out theory. Reason of the classification always more things and always more things to be better. Based on classification, like math, like recently seen on having solved the afternoon top of the time. So in the forefront of the not to especially not to sorry, I was just
Ready first, yes. Okay. Are there any pre-fiat triggers in the AC?
I don't know what you mean by trigger.
Are there any like arguments that, or like, is there any argument that I can make that is already said in the AC would lead to like theory?
No, there are no theories. All my theory, all my theory arguments.
What does Core say?
Core says that basically a hybridizing strategy is key.
What does that mean?
So a hybridizing strategy, e.g., like a political solution and an actual political solution.
And a what? A political?
Extra political.
Okay, what's an extra political solution?
Something that exists outside of the state.
Like what?
Extra as in like outside of.
Yeah, like what?
Like criticizing or refusing to engage. Or
okay, so is the implication of this card that I can make critiques as long as I also discuss policy options?
No, I'm saying combining policy options with the K all is usually beneficial.
Okay. And then what is the, okay, so the 2K preamps Article 4 in Jarvis, as long as that is read like Willis and Yellow, so.
I mean, I'm personally probably also a reason for policy making.
Okay, but, okay, so Code 4 says we should do both. What
You're
is,
free to read both if you want.
I'm not planning on that, I was just wondering if
I
that
mean,
was. Okay, never mind. So then, let's go to the, what does the Markovitz card say?
Alright, Markovitz talks about internalism and how that specifically mandates self-determination. So there's a split in analytic philosophy between internalism and externalism. Internalism says that what we naturally take as reasons for action and things like that, when we naturally take to value, is a source of obligations. Instead of externalism, should be something external to our natural desires and motivations like conditionality. So an external theory is something like high law, which says that there's this external principle that economics really believe in.
And which one is Markowitz in favor of?
Internalism.
Okay. And so.
I'm gonna go to the ones right.
No, it's fine. So what are can you just list the justifications for self-determination? Or like, what's the impacts of self-determination in the app?
I don't want to go through all of the arguments for why our resolutions need to be valuable.
Sure.
Okay, so let's start at April. So April talks about how when we engage in discourse and create norms for people to follow, e.g. morality, we need to include those people before. We have a discussion with those people to make sure that there's that obligation fit to them. You can understand
okay,
who are
so
making
in the
for.
world of the AC, how do you reconcile between two different people's perspectives without harming the self-determination of one of them? Or two different people's like desired action?
I don't know what you mean by that.
Okay, how do you reconcile between two people's different viewpoints?
Obviously, I'm not saying we only have one view. I'm saying we need people to be able to come to their own identity. That's the only difference, right?
So wait, can you
I'm not saying we include everyone in society.
Can you explain how
Sure.
you do that?
I'm not saying we include everyone
No,
in
can you
society.
just explain?
I'm about to. I'm not saying we split everyone's society, but I'm saying rather that we grant people the ability to engage and determine their own identity so they can engage in ethical political discussions.
Right.
So this is taking the argument from both sides. So it's not close.
So in the Gunther card, how do people understand, or like what do people extrapolate from their relationships to others?
So for example, if I hear a sound,
Yeah.
I love to see if someone else in the room heard that sound.
Right. But it's not that our relationships to others define us. It's just that we can like compare our own experiences to those of others.
So that's what relationships mean. So we have to compare our identity before, even if we know what we're experiencing is true. Should be a prior question to like making statements of true on it. Like, I don't know if I'm hallucinating that sound.
Okay. I have 255 remaining. The order is going to be 1 off the C.
Do you want to take 5 or 5 or
Up to y'all.
One off AC.
R5 to the
Just R5 and C.
what? No, R5 to the Okay, are we good?
No. Yes.
Part 1 is the lengthy and order approach legal by jail as morning central to the absence of internal constraints on the individual will. Liberals and battle rights and universalized connection to the individual's fully autonomous and uncovered by sexual contact rights. Liberals with connection to these classes rights to individuals results being here related to any of social and political issues in every liberal idea the individual space and by nature freedom of one speaking on love to be private belongs to society, conservation, and unity of the tradition of the originary element of theories of social contract, given to the different on one hand to arrive at themselves establishing different national individual freedoms, condition of individual isolation that is part of the creation of civil society, a liberal conception of autonomy not only as American medical law bioethics, Morgan, conservative being not only political individual substitute not only survivor for American medical law, not ethics, and entire law and norms that is premised on the dominance of patient autonomy over competing values, produces human beings to choose and act conscious, thus putting the risk of the will, and then the true will, being competent person is less than human. Autonomy, discourse, bioethics, and other people are to connection to others, Morgan. Personal morality, order to feelings, and one side person will not be able to with emotional feelings and needs, autonomy, these systems will undergo the person needs to the need for choosing impact a modern legal society person, an atheism that obscures or makes applies to others, Taylor. Modern individual facilitates the growth of new political forms in such a process central movement on the individual communications, purely instrumental, in which in other words, social atomistic tendency of the one just self-reflectively legitimating the demands that come from our own desire aspirations through the history, tradition, society, see, these links to others, so fundamental from China, consequences are very subjectivity, Butler. When we lose certain people, when we are disrespectful relation, community, something about us, who we are, to reveal something that's linking us back to others, that shows us that ties constitute who we are. If I lose you, under these conditions, I not only the world lost, but I feel it's critical to myself when I lose someone that is ties which are culture, freedom, not know who we are, what we are to do. Many people make these recognize that are to solitary situation. I think versus the political freedom comments or first by bringing all the relational ties that have engaged with your rights, fundamental transparency, ethical responsibility, private responsibility, The connection to a complete identity is only making non-social responsibility stand out. Certain obligations and solidarity into the collective judgment, but obligations that represent point out result in for some special responsibilities that flow from the community that may owe to those who the community has morally important history making events confronted past one point of affirming my leads to a subject solidarity can give special reason to criticize our own people and actions in regard to patriotism. Can get down says we could have both been a more really American could view a shame good pride and shame or moral sentiments that presuppose share our identity capacity and pride and shame in the activity develops into related capacity and culture responsibility to look at ourselves as if we self-claim that moral activity not just empathy the narratives that shape our identities moral agency or moral mirrors outside value of care and human relationships to demonstrate that such as being moral identities are only to reality moral commitments and particular relationship dependence and subject parents and children for health. Circles that and care value will say it's intentionally to others for we take positive values and recognize that when we turn that the moral paper for others for the needs responsibility take highly important and after development of related care that human beings need to live and progress responses for human flourishing and things is fundamental fundamental care of those needing receiving the experience as moral responsibility respond to those needs of dependence morality on the image of independent autonomous rational individuals on the open of reality of human dependence morality for response and experience with the moral things to others whose parents can be compelled for us universal principles agnostic relationship the relational nature of our moral identity so to be for truly democratic discourse minute recognize the personal private as the method knowledge can open up space to the rule of makings compatible with diversity morality and particular relationality people makes are viewed as singular out of something really by structure with dominant order through step organic and wants to emerge challenging to run or totalitarianism can see what we coach on a method more or less sort of system on which the best ecological system alternative highly schematic knowledge which the actual relation can be based on local terms we concern for our knowledge of logical political policy and not on our not to our inner less more strengthened recognition of morality and change bigger rather than trying to act with any relationship rather than deviations to right against status nor the ideal part more the framework a employing discipline that perverts the subject to contract ethical abuse less prior to any particular system of moral rules therefore we oblige to critique the normative violence which derives from what we consider any particular that moral failure and this is and process not only render our basis of moral sense meaningless but also make them fragile ethical as butler the reason to demand to and account of oneself and how to have the meaning for which conservative relation to responsibility back and effectively need to join with the impact social life of the ethical hostility presuppose rhetoric that social critique as well the reduction of political loss to the inward mutilations of conscience not only separate task at least with the matter of social life that fails to understand the resource of primary irreducible relation to others as a precondition to ethical responsiveness one must ask if our relation to the subject provides a framework for understanding ethical responsibility but at response to truth or truth undermines the conditions of the recognition of the truth itself others thus necessary to decide the context of one's truth dehumanizing ontologies hateful to certain practices that resist oppression and allow for self-determination butler which is the opposite term that makes application possible these terms are outside the subject that some group that also doesn't have to take notes to separation take place so that I can be quite literally constrained by the advance of regime so I will be recognized for one of the there's also the evolution to the routine of model stating negotiates in answer to by in relation to these norms iron out determinants considered by norms that all the provide favor for any such decision subsequently is in relation to this framework that the norms of government are challenged and transformed and B things like the effective discourse is the biggest impact on maybe the discourse right way for thinking and imposing social rules later then we're going to begin to frame also includes how it function practices the discourse the power of knowledge articulate each other discourse or self the frame our thinking process by the current process then honestly AC first on the framework by so you can process by the above or blueprint by the search for truth has to control the internal link to self-determination there's no way we can understand the outside relations to others second his framework has no way of reconciling two different people self-determination really compromising the only way they can do that then on the offense and let's look at it which is the elective treatment without parental consent because the parents have paid for treatment well the parents are not financially responsible for another person's care because they don't consent and thus maybe
Alright. So there's a bunch of working card that wasn't in the thread, but I couldn't find it. And then can you just delete everything you did right
yeah everything should be deleted out
Sorry, I just couldn't find the working cards. And could you cut all the cards?
Jordan. These are the only two I read.
Oh, what you were saying didn't match up with the working card, but I think that did. And then can you cut all the cards from your phone?
Yeah.
I got the last other card that was awesome.
If you need help, I wrote it all down. So.
read it? So what are let's walk through the lens. So what's the one in deeds?
Okay, so the first deed star talks about how the act promotes this idea of a liberal ideal of autonomy, and so this notion of autonomy relies on the absence of external constraints on the individual will, and it valorizes the conception of the individual as fully autonomous and unencumbered or like untouched by their social context.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
So how are transgender youth being like excluded from the social context by allowing them to affirm their own identity?
Okay.
How does the line?
So
I'm not talking about in general. I'm saying how does getting
So
them
I'll
right
explain
from their
with your
identity
framework. So I can
exclude
point
them?
to
I'm not asking
specifically.
about my framework. I'm asking
Well,
specifically about the act.
I'm gonna talk about your framework. So
That's not what I'm asking you to do.
Okay. Well,
How does
do you
it
want me to explain how you link?
I want to understand how does allowing
So your framework specifically talks about how we have to exclude external forces and only focus on individual self-determination. Even when another person comes, where does it come from?
So we should allow, that's fine. We should allow parents who are transphobic, who don't believe that a child should affirm their own identity.
No, because in that case, if the parents abuse it, the child would be removed from the home, so that's relevant.
So that case. What about a medical professional who's transphobic and isn't approving?
Well, that's just illegal, so that wouldn't be like.
Who have the right? Why can't they deny? If they don't have the right to do it, then what's stopping people from denying that right?
I'm not sure. Okay, so if a person is transphobic and that's the reason they're not giving child treatment, then that's illegal and that's a hate crime.
So we can exclude people only when we want to.
No, you're misunderstanding. My case is speaking to specifically how like your framework and how in the like idea of the AC we're extracting people from their social context and only.
That's fine. What's the second word? Or the first word?
The first one talks about how this liberal conception of autonomy is found very heavily in American medical law and bioethics.
Does it have a warrant? Or is it completely descriptive?
What do you mean? Yes, it's descriptive. It's talking about.
So just saying that people now get autonomy.
No, it's talking about how autonomy in the case of bioethics is grounded in this idea of like extracting people from their social context and like.
And then working right?
Yeah. So that one is more prescriptive. It's talking about how it's a bad thing that the medical field doesn't look at people as individuals. So you can look at the last sentence. It talks about how autonomy-based systems undervalue those other persons' needs, so i.e. people who can't make decisions for themselves or who aren't like independent, and they assume it's possible to ascertain who's most affected by an action or condition, and then allow that person's interest to trump all others.
What is your alt?
Okay, so the alt is like understanding and like conceptualizing the idea about autonomy not as necessarily like being free from all constraints, but having a socially supportive system which allows you to make like your own choices, but also just understanding that we're intrinsically tied to others and our relationship to others. What?
Is it political at all? Do you advocate taking policy action?
No, it's pretty pure. It's a discursive. So, no, it's I'm specifically saying that. Very good.
Yeah, very good. then the A, B, C prime under the all are just reasons why you're all solved. It's just all solvency.
Yeah, in just more explanatory. All of them describe it more and more.
Are there any dissets from independency?
You'd be severing because the fact that it's.
Where did you say severance is bad ever?
Well, you would be.
Where did you ever say severance? Did you say severance is bad?
I mean, no, I could just easily make that argument in the next page.
112 right?
So you're gonna read that first.
Yeah.
Thanks. Can you put your yeah.
Are you good with me following the sheet?
Yeah.
Okay, the order is going to be just on the K, but like I'll be sending the app across the 90 fixes. But I'm not going to go like card by card fix something besides the other results.
Sure, I'll figure it out.
Alright. These are on the level. As an ogre to level 1 turn, she's excluding transmittal from society and social condition by saying that the now from the ordinary death, the most exclusive thing is possible, so that's always be able to impact the always specific instance the application might generally to the right might be kind of thing. In this specific case, it's a key thing, including that especially now a second turn, I don't know if you want to identity to keep the action engagement and engagement determine yourself versus the prior question being impact third the specific action feature only grants will be super right by being inclusive in general, not saying that we should I'm not going to general principle, that's nothing in my app on my app, no one else wants to I'm saying the practical from overriding their specific wishes to knowledge and pay to active purpose and not to actually engage. Then on these working groups, it doesn't make any sense as one better to get some people right, then just exclude everyone who are in back to total exclusion because we're all likely to be engaged in has to be way more inclusive than I am. And it's like everyone's excluded now because there's no problems here. Can't include people who's not going anyone or not getting anyone's looking engaged. I should say them can be all conception that is after some of these specific instances always better heard. For argument's sake, just because some people can't engage right doesn't mean we should matter. Everyone, for example, some babies taste tax doesn't mean we should kill all babies. Not acceptable and it's a bad advocate. Then let's go to Taylor the impacts. One after the act, there's no impact to people, others we're committing genocide against people besides nobody actually will solve all can never solve the issues, not only think which is this impact nothing out way, this is left way weighing out. There's a genocide people believe that every day she's talking some high pressures. You said jars on your high pressures don't matter, we're not actually helping people die, helping trans people dying on the street every day, it's not helping trans people dying of overdoses, it's not actually having issues because they almost the AC impacts specific issue that takes up the entire day. because if you know only no correct question that is only about actual policy making, which is nothing outweighing your impact, even if you want your career in general. Then on Butler. So first you just so first you just have our to make no reason why something is bad. Here's the reason why something is good. Being able to cover as much as the AC to keep flexibility. One I see is that capitalization of the level straight parts of the AC, so just simple level reactive the after we that. This heat connection to the axis balance also outweighs her actually never know not so outweighs you never know that we separate that the limits of the firm. We just have to have that in the anti connection one to answer that firm. And second, we just probe because the reason why we can't engage with conception, right? And also great because one persistent right and then it's going to act because he can't have advantage because Louis Jeff had already been contained and they got now keep that outweighing. And third is you should do the alternate every except the AC itself better because there's just a tiny like I'm writing one specific group of people, very specific practices, not going to be right talk in general. The average definitely away the residual length, or the all just can't talk that residual length, which is not going to be any reason being the first. However, so the head of the term, the net of the term is, of course, the academic seconds, the prime question, the driving thing takes out, the total of the class, making over 50% of 4 from the AC. The economics system combined with the politically top universities start realizing the secret language playing their game is working to ignore some existing more legitimate movement. We'll get crushed with only as much as policy through the parties of living and I don't know what you three diagrams are nothing not going to the case. It means that the only party can have any natural lobbying position is alternative, which is specifically in constitution, so not engage in political scenario. It's not a political thing, which is yes, no, active support. Court is very good at this part and says that only political solutions can be actually have any lobbying. The movement will just be crushed and has no legitimate strategy engagement. They are linked they don't have any lobbying. You don't understand accuracy of force, the things and that will always be sure politics that's realized. The only thing we can do is activists is go on the things that it seems the only time that any love the all because the all literally doesn't do anything. And they're actually how many say already says they're right or already should not be any policy which is that they would able to exploit or exploit rights to more a lot worse than the seats with the already the right way the extreme right will go over and just take over the law right has to be having the verbal cannot solve this impact to be a great a lot larger scale than the actual NC. Let's do more policy cards. Moreover, policies and simulations speak to the fact that linked all the current arguments for and file. Control the government factors factors we systems to all that after the special motivation for first will look factors of law next power to do the level language power role playing and more the academic level power the ability to influence government action and create versus debate. Kind of debate is that it's instantly interacting in favor of she's not getting conclusion that another link to see people argue moreover, even if it's not add around that she's talking about it like she's talking about the correct question that doesn't make sense to the jarvis in person combined really well to say that only the learning level of power can actually in a real world actually even something right to go automatic even if it's going to take my impact for only the cost of making a solution to 10 times.
What are you severing from? The AC?
I'm severing from a rights conception of autonomy.
Okay.
Right, so I'm still giving them rights, but it's not an autonomous
I
conception
make
of rights.
arguments about the fact that you're severing from your entire AC.
I'm not severing from my entire AC.
Okay, but I make arguments about that and extend cards to support that. Would you be willing to sever from your entire AC?
I'm not severing from my entire AC. You're saying this one right of rights as autonomous is problematic. Fine,
no,
I'm saying my right is
there's
problematic.
multiple. Okay, so there's multiple other links in my arguments linking to your framework. Would you sever from your whole framework?
No.
Okay.
I'm just severing from that representation.
So okay. Cool. Thank you. What's your file called for your AC?
Oh.
Got it. So if you're severing from the notion of a right, where's your solvency? You don't use it from the legal right.
You're saying your anti says it can't.
What are you severing from? Just explain what you're
severing autonomy.
As the legal right. So you're getting rid of trans youth's autonomy.
No, I mean they still have rights, not autonomous conception of rights. So why don't you get communal conception of rights? That's fine.
Then how do you solve if their parents are involved? How do you solve if you change the complete conception of autonomy?
I'm not changing the complete such an autonomy. I'm
So
saying
what
let's
are you
look at your
severing?
rights.
So you're not severing from anything. Okay,
I'm severing from autonomy
thank you.
rights.
Okay, thank you.
If you want me to sever from nothing, like you can pass that in your speech.
Okay, the order is gonna go down the K and then voters. Starting with starting with the arguments on the alt and then going to starting on the link level alt and then just down to K.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you reading anything new?
No. Okay. Is everyone ready?
Yep.
The biggest mistake that he makes is that he's not understanding the link to the K, which means there's no way that he's gonna have an inability to form because he would have decided for representations he talked about in the AC. This goes greater than this is larger than just the autonomy he speaks of, and it comes out of every card in his framework, and I'm about to explain all of those. So then it doesn't matter that even if he says that policymaking and like critical thinking should go well together, insofar as he still thinks there's no way that he's gonna be able to do this. I'm gonna explain. Okay, so on his first apple point about self-determination, this is exactly what Dyke explains. That this card explains this card indicts specifically that thinking of autonomy as just one individual with extracting one individual from all their social constraints means that we're unable to recognize people's relationships to others. Even if he tried to say that he would sever from his framework, this clearly made no sense because then you'd have no way to evaluate any of his options. Don't let him do this. Then on the next card, the Markovitz card, this card, the Markovitz and the Gunther card explains clearly that in the app you get rid of all external forces. Our external forces help define us because of the fact that our relationship to others are part of us coming out of this comes out. You can extend the Taylor card under the impacts, and then the Butler card that our relationship to others define us. This means that there's no way to get rid of these external forces. This means that he still clearly links because of the fact that he's saying that we have to get rid of these external forces in order to be self-determined. Then you can go down to okay. So this explains very clearly how he's still linking. Then in his contention, he's explaining that trans youth would have a right to make autonomous choices without their parents' consideration. This means that they're destroying the conditions. He's gonna say that we should respect trans youth. However, you can group all four of his terms about how trans youth should still have the right to transition because they can't find themselves if they don't. However, they will still have the ability to in the status quo because of the fact that states already have laws in the case where minors can take autonomous medical decisions aside to promote their well-being older. Because the decision for the legality of treating teenagers medically practiced those who are minor treated aside to justify to give you to the 16 month country as old as 14 which minor may consider previously independent for healthcare purposes and treating may be given as if she were adult by the court. Adult second return on top of adults make autonomous decisions that they can demonstrate adult competency older. Even in absence of statute, there have been no cases reported for the past 30 years which have parents successfully sued for negligent care of adolescents without the parents knowledge whether court knowledge. And then so it's very clear that the status quo would solve it. His card talks specifically about people who abusive parents who don't let them transition. In the case they would still be able to do that in the status quo without fully committing all the other harms mentioned in the K. And so then go down to where he tries to form first. He can extend my argument that he would be severing from the rest. And he talks about previously he would
person ever be communicating to the K contact?
Overview.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
A concession of every single policymaking card and multiple firms with multiple net benefits is not going to be helping during the NR. Let's go line by line to the K. For links, the answer don't make any sense. All it's just talking about inherent prices. They don't make any sense. One, they're doing expenses. Two, they're doing expenses. And the NR second, even sending Caroline the acre, which is very clear there. A lot of people saying, a lot of transgender people saying, including judges and doctors and always for specific inherent to the actual averages. All the impacts, all of them can be sending. The fact that he's excluding people, prevents them engaging in social reality. If they send back to the Canada, identify their own gender, they can never engage in society because the prerequisites in this outweighs the prior question to engage in society, which is that my link towards outweigh. Even if I'm totally losing the first grade, because the fact that my link towards are outweighing, we're already to be so prior questions were also always get away. So completely winning the link level, we're arguing to just defense, matter 100% conceded. That was for the impact level. You said the fact that the after the case is only the case, it's only what actually makes us by validating their identities to the advantage of solving a genocide against identities, the literally dying in the street because this outweighs, because it suggests that people are dying, her rest don't matter. The Gerard's part is really good on the way and out here because it said prior questions, such as her butler, which don't make any sense in this case. It doesn't help anyone who's dying in the streets. It doesn't help anyone. The only way to actually look at real solutions is to pause, which that's jargon, which is my impact or outweighs your language. But even if you're all the fact that I'm talking, I have greater impact than we're all, greater impact than we're all contemporaries. I can be winning the day. Then, let's go to the part. Currents are where things get really bad because you can send the, so even if I'm not going to have still winning on both of their currents, you can send the current do both, which solves a lot better because I'm getting all the positive benefits and the positive benefits happen on higher levels. And when winning any of the policy currents, when you don't participate, it's the same amount of policy, right? I work on a preview level, there's her framing issues, right? She's losing her framing issues, she can't get access to her in the first place. So why they send those, you send the purpose of the currents, when you come back to the political, the only topic is I realize it's keeping actually talking to the political, when they actually talk to speak their language, it's also the terrorism card, which is very the only policy makes about that, it's only taking that chance, and the real world how to engage power, in the real world how to stop rights. These are the implications of this, which is that we see the political, there be more rights than that impact terms for all because they often never solve the threat. She's maximizing her, she's maximizing this, which is they're all burning herself. The only firm has any risk to solve it. It's a very clear analysis from the and from the one here. It's the only that the huge benefit from it. So the second benefit of the firm says that there are no prior questions to that. For other stuff doesn't make sense. The only look at the average reason why the firm outweighs the pain because the pain doesn't have a framework to link to. Let's go to then her arguments that discovered everything the rest. Even if that doesn't matter, even if whoever doesn't matter, she says that because I can still discover she's thinking a lot of things to AC, but the one discovery is good at that. You can make that back to it's the only way to actually engage in the next pick any way out of anything out of the possible engage to the fairness and so the fact that fairness is the only voter together, no other voter to not like any voter to anything because that doesn't make any sense because there are no other voters. That fairness outweighs all of her impacts, the coverage rotation of economy and still engaged which is a huge blow to the pay because and there's no blame anymore because I'm not engaged in the professional economy or any rights are getting this rights because all that reputation for when issue isn't my policy for the reputation that solves. Also something fact you do for every instance we make her link in this school. She cannot solve the AC impact or talk about solving for transphobia doesn't matter. It's not solving the AC. The firm's gonna be getting back to the link in this school. She's still solving for all the transphobia and harm. I'm just doing it also solving for genocide against immigrants.
Okay, I am voting F for largely the framing that the 2AR gives me. I think that the severance perm is probably the best perm of the bunch in this debate, and that really mitigates a lot of the offense you have on the pre-fiat level, because all of your offense is specific to how he's framed the right to autonomy in the AF, and he has said that he can effectively sever out of that, and I think that you might have a good amount of pre-fiat offense coming out of the alternative, and maybe there's some amount of link I can get you there, but I think you're not dealing well enough with all the policy-making stuff to make that a poor option for the AF. I think the perm gets a really good net benefit because of the extensions of the Kapoor and Coverstone evidence, that there are benefits to talking about the status quo in legal terms, using the language of the state or learning to use the tools of the state. Makes this extension of the cede the political argument, which I don't think is particularly good, but I don't have a real answer from you in the 2 and R on. And then fourth, that rights are key in the context of the AF, that for these adolescents who are transitioning or seeking particular therapies, that they don't have the option to do that in the status quo. The only way to do it is through legal right. I think that's a very specific net benefit to the perm, and the discussion of it is something that is important given the framing of these policymaking arguments, that I think the perm is a better option than the alternative alone. Ways you could have dealt with that are to beat the Coverstone Kapoor evidence more handily, or to have a good explanation of alt solvency. If you had explained how the alternative can solve for a good chunk of the AF, then these link turns don't function as much because they're all premised on the AF advantage. So really what he's going for is a case outweighs or advantage outweighs the K argument, not really a link term, because you're not discussing the impacts that Butler's talking about. They're really just cross-ups from the case. So what you need to do is say, I solve the root cause, and the alternative solves this. And I don't really have a good explanation for that in the 2 and R. You do say the words at one point, and I can get to that, but I'm going, that's the gist of it, and I'll go top down in the order that you all went. I thought the link analysis in the 2 and R was very good. I think you should have put that in the NC. It made the K so much more specific to the stuff that he was saying in the 1AC, which was a problem in this debate, because up until cross-X of the NC, I honestly had forgotten that the AF was about the specific plan, because nothing in the NC indicated that you were applying the K to the plan in any way. So all that specific link work, do it in the NC. Don't risk anyone calling you out for it being new. I thought your explanation cross-X was fine, but it's got to be there earlier. Severance perm is the main thing. So he has good justification. Well, I don't know if I'd call it good. He has adequate justification for the severance perm in the 1AR. He says it's key to AF flexibility because the neg gets the ability to adapt. You can make links based on anything I've said in the AF that I'm not prepared to defend. It's key to have equal access to the ballot. Also, you've not said severance bad, so it's your burden to do that in the 2 and R to beat this perm. And I think the explanation cross-X is perfectly fine, that he severs out of the problematic framing of autonomy, but not the part where he can give rights. And so I think you need to make a shift, given that either you need to prove severance is bad, which I think is the best option, or make a shift in the 2 and R to make your links more specific to rights and other parts of the AF that are not premised on the framework of autonomy. And you do a little bit of that with the self-determination stuff, but I think that is what he's severing out of.
Okay, because I was confused. If he's severing out of all the self-determination stuff, that's his framework. So where is he linking offense?
So I think that is a point of confusion, and I think you should ask the question very clearly. If you're severing out of your framework, how do you affirm?
That's what I was trying to ask in the
Yeah, I think you need to ask that question more straight up. But I think effectively he has created a kind of a new framework with the Kapoor and Coverstone evidence, saying that their discourse about the state and then linking that to the context of the AF is a good thing. Right, so he's established a new pre-fiat framework, even if he doesn't go for this self-determination stuff. At least that's the way that I characterize the function of these arguments. Yeah, so you say this in the 2 and R. You're like, oh, he'd have to sever from the entire framework, but there's no impact to that. You keep saying he severs. He's severing from the whole framework. He's not. And I'm like, so? He said why that's good. So you should read a theory argument, and you should say, maybe it's not drop the debater, maybe it's just drop the argument, but get rid of this stuff. It won't be hard.
Yeah.
If you make a theory argument, he's not going to go for it in the 2AR. That's just not worth the time.
Yeah.
The one thing that I thought you did well in the 2R that gave me some pause was this social responsibility stuff. And you're saying things like the K helps challenge abusive practices, it resists authoritarian regimes, but none of this is applied to the AF. And I think the AF does a little bit better on this, talking about how there are transphobic doctors, judges, family members, and social responsibility in that context is not really helpful. We're not trying to ask those people to be socially responsible because it's just not going to work. And so I think the specific AF inherency probably takes us out. That's one thing I didn't talk about. I think that those cards in the 2 and R were new on the status quo solves. You had to put those on case. Critique was way too long. Probably needed to cut like 3 pieces of evidence and then put a couple more case cards. You did get one out though. And I thought you could have extended that. It was the holder evidence where you said it's just inevitable. You could have gone for that in the 2 and R. It could have gotten rid of a lot of his claims that he solves for all this exclusion, otherization. If he doesn't really solve, then there's no big net benefit to the perm. Last thing, the AF. You've got to be way more specific, and you've got to be more thorough in your extensions of all this policymaking stuff. You're pretty much extending taglines, and I know the 2R didn't deal with it very well, but like, you can't just say, otherwise we cede the political and stop there. I mean, that really is part of the 2AR is just, and I'm in the wrong column, and I'll tell you where it is. It's like your extensions in the 1AR are not much better either, but I think it should be in the context of the K. Why is a communitarian ideology one that requires us to engage the state to affect, or in the context of the AF? And neither of those are great in this debate. And it's okay. First term of the topic, I'm not expecting a huge amount there, but as you have these debates, just try to get more and more out of those extensions than what you're doing in this round. Because if some K and the F. So I mean, if someone takes you to task on policy making bad, what you do in the 1AR is like really not good enough to beat it. And I think there is some stuff that she can go for with the Taylor evidence or the Butler evidence, maybe that interacts with that. And so I think it's a little dangerous because that's the core of your strategy, and the core of your strategy should be more thoroughly extended. Oh, one card I'm not referencing in this package is the Jarvis evidence. I also didn't think your extension of that evidence was good. I also just don't think that's a good card. I don't think you should read it. It's just not good. It's like epistemology and ontology are irrelevant to our decision making, and it's like, does that really answer the K? Probably not. And if it doesn't, either make it why, come up with a reason why it applies, or just don't extend it. But you did neither. So, yeah. But good strategy. More specificity. Any other questions? We're at 29 and 28.8. Yeah.